Which state are you in the US, by the way?
I'm in New Jersey.
You're in Jersey. Ah, I've been there. We'll talk about Jersey another time. So thank you so much for joining. What time are you at now?
Oh, it's 31.
12:31. Right. Have you seen the debate? What are your thoughts?
I did see it. I saw it last night, as most people did. It was harsh. It was harsh. But I mean, the world has a lot of things going on. I felt like just weren't answered. But you know, those are the two candidates we have, and we got to make the best of it. That's how I felt.
Well, but what can you make the best of? So tell me something. Are you a Democrat or a Republican, first of all? Because America is like that. It's either you are or you're not. You know, like, it's so, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I do have, I'm a Democrat at heart, but I do have some Republican views.
Okay. I can understand that. So tell me, as a Democrat at heart, what do you make of President Biden's performance yesterday?
I think that the president, well, for what we know, he had a cold. So, I mean, at that age and everything, I think that it took a toll. But I think that out of both of them, out of him and Trump, I think he was trying to answer most of the questions, and he was more towards the questions than Trump. But I think that overall, if I was to give him a scale out of 1 out of 10, I don't think it was his best performance in a debate.
So what would you give him?
That I've seen him in.
So what would you give him?
I give him a 6.
Okay, why do you say he's got a cold? Because let me put this to you. You sound like a member of his team. That's what his team have been saying this morning. They said, oh, he had a cold. Oh, remember, he's a stammerer. Oh, remember all these things. But hang on a minute. The same team were telling us as doing the pre-debate analysis that, oh, he's really prepared. You know, the way he prepared for the State of the Union. He's been president and all of this stuff, and he's really ready to take on. They didn't tell us that he had a cold. Now this morning, we're supposed to believe that he had a cold.
Right, and I think that everyone was like, you know, taken aback by it. They were surprised because, like I said, it wasn't his best turn up in the debate. But even if you go back to the State of the Union, when he gave the address to the State of the Union, he does stammer. He does stammer. It's not like he's not coherent to know what he's thinking and to know how to place his words properly. So I'm not worried about that. I think everybody was just panicked because they hadn't seen him in a situation where he wasn't at his best in a debate or speaking.
Now, given that he wasn't at his best, and I know you don't work for him, but I want your citizen opinion, which is why you are here. Given that he wasn't as at his best, should his team have allowed him to do that debate?
I mean, to be quite frank, I can't put that on the team because before you went on stage, there's no way you could possibly know it would have turned out that way. Unless you were, before the debate, you pre-debated, you pre-prepped him, and he sounded good. So you couldn't know. I mean, things happen. It's live TV, so things happen. You know, nobody could have possibly known that unless you're a genie. So I don't think that, I mean, I do think that he still has opportunity to turn it around. The election is still pretty far away. So, you know, the next debate might be better. Like I said, I think a lot of people were in a frenzy. I mean, I heard them saying, you know, possibly changing the nominee, which would be drastic, but
well, that was going to be my next question because, yes, there has been a lot of discussion about changing the nominee. There's been suggestions about Kamala Harris, even Hillary Clinton, and what's his name in California? The governor of California, who's quite popular, you know, and let's be honest, quite good looking and seems to be very popular amongst both black and white voters. He seems to be one of those non-polarizing people. However, there are those who would argue that at this late stage, to actually change candidate from Biden to somebody else, or even attempt to go to the primaries and ask people to vote for somebody else, is tantamount to saying Biden is no good. Would you agree?
wouldn't go that far.
Okay.
Because if you go back into history, and I'm not saying by any stretch at all, I'm not saying Biden is Nixon. That's two different ball games at all. But Nixon was a Republican. It was a different issue entirely, and he found out of office. So if it does the party good, and it's for the better good of the country, which everybody wants at the end of the day, and he feels, I can't do another 4 years, and you hand it over to another nominee, and it gives you the opportunity to win, I think at the end of the day, it's all about winning.
But wouldn't it be saying to the Republicans and also to Democrats like yourself, if he doesn't, let's say they put all these other people against Biden in the primaries, and Biden still turns out to come top during the primaries, would the Democrats not have then said, oh, hang on, after that debate yesterday, we don't have faith in this guy anymore? So we think, okay, you know what? Here are 3 others that you could choose from in case we want to, because there are Democrats who think Biden should resign, right?
Yeah, there are people that, like I said, that were in a huge frenzy about it, and they think, moving forward, that from what they saw yesterday, does he have a chance to beat Donald Trump in an election after that kind of debate? But I always, people that feel that way, I say to them, like, listen, this is the guy that did beat Donald Trump the first time around. So I don't think off of one debate, a bad debate, we can go off of that and say, well, nah, he's not coherent. He can't do the job.
Okay.
He's been doing the job. So I think...
Mm-hmm. Go ahead. Finish your sentence. Sorry to interrupt you.
I think that now if we go and get a nominee and say, okay, well, and first of all, it's really Biden's choice. Nobody can tell Biden to leave. He has to make the choice to say, I want to step down and give another person a shot at this. And I think that if you look at Kamala Harris and Gavin Newsom of California, they're both very good. So, but the real question I think that everybody has: who's tough enough, who has the wits, and who has the record to go against Trump?
Who does? Some would say to you, Gavin does. Some would say to you, definitely not Kamala, but that Gavin does. And given that Gavin has worked, well, he said he and Trump got on quite well, work-wise, when Trump was the president. Perhaps Gavin, a young, suave, sharp, intellectual, diplomatic, popular governor, perhaps he could replace Biden? You don't think so?
I think that, yeah, I agree with everything you said when it comes to him. I mean, he does have charisma. He has everything. He carries himself like a great statesman. He would look good as a president. But I think everything's timing. Okay. I think when it comes to Joe, the president, it's I think his resume speaks for itself. And I think the reason why Democrats, and I myself personally, are like, that debate yesterday was a missed opportunity. Because I think if you take away Joe and you put, I don't know, I'm just going off the top of my head here.
Go ahead.
And you put somebody like Barack Obama in that position and say he was debating against Trump, he would have probably chewed him up.
Yeah.
But the point being, yeah. So I think the big thing was like, it's a missed opportunity. Okay. And that's what really resonates this morning with people.
Okay, let's talk about Trump. Are you afraid of President Trump in November?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that? I couldn't hear you.
Are you afraid of the possibility, the likability of a President Trump in November for the next 4 years?
Okay, so that's am I afraid? I'm gonna say no, because and this may be I'm gonna think outside the box on this.
Go ahead, please do.
I think that when it comes to Donald Trump, it's not a one-sided box to it. So when it comes to him, the fear that people have, obviously, it's with immigration, and obviously that's really the biggest thing with people. And I think that when it comes to him, I think that okay, let me say this. I always felt that Donald Trump has the possibility of being one of the best presidents the United States has ever seen, if he wants to.
Okay.
So that's one way of looking at it. The other way, I think that what I saw last night in the debate was the most poised, the most presidential I've ever seen Trump.
Exactly. So let's talk about that. And that's what a lot of people have said. They've said, look, the man was composed. He was poised. I mean, it's possible that it's because he was muted. He wasn't allowed to, he couldn't get carried away and go off script. We mustn't pretend that he wasn't muted, and he still pulled his faces, those great faces that make for great memes. But here's the thing. Is it possible that CNN may have done Trump a favor inadvertently by presenting to us the Trump that could be, not the Trump that we knew?
No.
Okay.
I don't think CNN was looking out to do Trump a favor.
No, they didn't mean to, but inadvertently, like without meaning to, could they have done that?
I know what you mean. I think that I don't think so. I think that what happened with that was muting Trump was, if you notice during the debate, the questions that were asked were not answered.
Yes.
So they were trying to put it in such a way that, okay, if we mute Biden, he can't talk, we mute Trump, so you have to answer the question. So now, me as a person looking at the debate, I'm going, well, you're not answering the question, you're really just talking. So that was really the negative part about it.
Now, I think this is the first time, surely, correct me if I'm wrong, you have a septuagenarian, Trump, and an octogenarian fighting to actually be the president of the most powerful country in the world. Nigeria, I don't know where you come from, Michael, but Nigeria, we just finished an election last year, right? Last year. And again, we also had two octogenarians fighting to be president, well, including a younger person, but fighting to be president of our most populous nation, African nation, black nation in the world. What's going on? Why can't, shouldn't we all be worried as young people? Is it okay? How do you feel about that as an American, given that you have a Trump choice, 79, and a Biden 81 as your choice? Yet there's a Gavin there who could easily have been a choice.
Well, I think, to answer you first, Nigeria, my parents are Nigerian, so I'm Nigerian.
Fabulous.
So I think that young people, yes and no. I do think that with age, as they, in Nigeria, they say with age comes wiseness and understanding.
But with age also comes what we saw with Biden yesterday.
I'm sorry, can you say that again?
With age also comes what we saw with President Biden yesterday.
That's very true. But that's the downside to it. But I think that me personally, I think age is nothing but a number.
Okay.
I think moving forward, and then this goes into the generation of this time. How involved are they? How much do you want to be in that position to make a difference? That's the question that needs to be answered. So it's not only in America and in Nigeria too. What is important to you? Because at the end of the day, the government. I'm going to go back to what JFK said in his inaugural speech. And JFK had a great inaugural speech, and he said, "Don't ask what America do for you. Ask for what you can do for America." And I think that should resound with with the youth in Nigeria also. Let's stop saying what the government can do. What can you do for the country?
Indeed.
What difference do you want to make? And that is the resounding bell that we have in America right now.
Now, you're a Democrat, so I'm going to keep putting those Biden questions to you. Sorry, Michael. What do you make? Okay, some would argue that Biden's foreign policy, Biden's policy on Israel, has actually part of his Achilles heel and could possibly lose him this election. Would you agree?
I think that when it comes to Israel, Israel's his own state, his own country.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think America makes policy for Israel. We can only advise. And
But America sends Israel ammunition. America sends Israel funding. America enables Israel. America sides with Israel. America blocks UN resolution that's supposed to stop Israel from going too far. America is always on the side of Israel. And Joe Biden, incidentally, if I may quote him, said, is on record to saying, I am a Zionist, and if there was no Israel, we would have to create one. That's your boy. That's your boy, Michael. That's your boy. That's your boy.
I think when it comes to that, it's a very touchy subject.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think there's ever been any U.S. president that's really dove into it, Republican or Democrat. I think the only person that really took a step to diving into it and making it known was Donald Trump when he moved the embassy to...
That's right, to Jerusalem.
Jerusalem. So when it comes to Israel, they're a U.S. ally. And I think any ally of the U.S. comes out to help.
Okay.
And I think the whole incident there is unfortunate. People are dying. It's unfortunate on both sides. It's an unfortunate situation. I think Joe Biden's stance when it comes to foreign policy, it's like in any stance in life. That is your ally. You're going to stand by your ally. But at the same time, America is also the one telling our ally, you got to kind of take it easy. It's getting kind of rough. And at the same time, fighting on the other hand also to make sure people are safe and make sure the Palestinians are okay.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, the average Palestinian does not care what was going on. They just want to live their life.
Yeah.
So it's not everybody in Palestine that had anything to do with this.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what we have to keep in mind also.
Okay. As a black man and, as an African American, I'm presuming you grew up there, at least, well, I'm presuming you were born there. Well, it definitely sounds like you grew up there. Tell me something, and I'm so glad we have you on the show. I'm going to take this opportunity to ask, what does it feel to be a black man in today's America? Number one. Number two is, there is an expectation, and even Biden had expressed this when he was running his campaign the last time. There's an expectation that every black person is supposed to vote Democrat. How do you feel about that?
I don't think you should ever put any black person in one box. I think we're vastly thinking people. And I think that if you look in history, the Republican Party was the black party back in the day.
Yeah.
It just so happens, values change. And I think that now in America with black people, it's not so much being a Democrat, being a Republican. The black community in America now is like, who's the best for me? What are you offering me? Because we've been Democrats for years, and Democrats come and say, one or two things, and they say what they have to say, and then, it goes about their business, and then another election cycle comes, and what did you do for the black community? And that's the major thing. So you have to, now in America, when it comes to voting, I feel like in the black community, you have to earn our vote. Don't just come in thinking we're going to be Democratic. It doesn't work that way. You got to earn it.
Absolutely.
So we saw that the first time around with Trump.
Yeah. So what does it feel like to be a black man? Because the killings, the police, the brutalities. Let me make a confession to you. My son was offered basketball camp in the US. I said no. I actually said no.
Why would you ever do that?
Because I was scared of guns. I grew up in the UK. I'm in Nigeria.
Man.
We don't get killed with drive-by shootings. And at that time, a friend of mine had actually just lost a daughter, literally, to drive-by shooting. They were going out clubbing. It was her birthday. And the girl was, unfortunately, they were all standing outside the club. There was a drive-by shoot with two gangs and she died. So, yes, we hear that a lot. I know I sounded like an irrational mom, but I know your mom will connect with me. But literally tell us, As a black man, what does it feel like today's America?
Well, I'm going to use it this way.
Mm-hmm.
I think that in America today, being black is not the same as being black in the 90s or the early 2000s. I think that we have what I like to call undercover racism. So regardless of what you think, I mean, there are always going to be racist people anywhere in the world. I think that when it comes to gun violence, I mean, that's something that the U.S. government has been trying to put a hold on. But when you have the right to bear arms, sometimes, you have two different sides on the aisle. You have the right to bear arms, and people are like, there has to be more restriction to it. Not everybody could just go get a gun. And I think that they've done well with the restrictions. Like, if you're a felon, if you have mental illness, you can't just go buy a gun. So those are things that we have to look into, to get better at and to look into. I personally am always going to use myself as a personal example. I've never been in a situation where I've been held at gunpoint or seen anybody get shot. But the whole thing is it's about also where you are in America, what state you live in, where you reside and everything. So I tend to lean towards more states that have more harsher gun laws.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hold on, let me answer. I'm going to take one call. One. Okay? Make sure you're clear, very short. Hello, your name. Well, I did take your call. You've been calling for a while. And if you call back very quickly, I've only got like 7-8 minutes with Mike. Okay, there you are again. Hello. Wow, your line's not good. If you call back again, I'll try and answer your call. 0201-277-0993, 277-1993, 277-2993, 277-3993. This is my last attempt at answering your call. Hello,
Yo-Yo Gay.
Sisi Oge, not Yo-Yo Gay. You can call me Ireti. Yes, go ahead. Yes.
This is Pastor Ladipo.
Okay, Pastor Ladipo, your question,
Calling
please.
from Morile in Sarigo.
Okay,
my question now is this. From this debate, does it not show that something is wrong with the Democratic aspirant, that is the presidential candidate of Democratic? Because watching that, staying all night to watch that debate, shows that the man, sometimes, I don't know whether he's not coherent or maybe they are guiding him.
Okay.
Looking at the man, mentally, I don't think the man is fit.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, Pastor Ladipo just you're smiling, excuse me. Pastor Ladipo just said pretty much what everybody is saying. Pastor Ladipo could easily be a member of the Republican Party. Heck, even Van Jones, let me quote Van Jones. Van Jones said, I feel really sad. I'm trying to do an American accent, but I'm rubbish at it. He said, I feel really, he said, I feel really sad. I like Biden. I've worked for Biden. But what I saw today, that America's got a choice between an old man and a con man.
Yeah, I saw that. I actually saw that part. It was a tough watch. I'm not going to sit here and tell you it wasn't. It was a tough watch. But I'm just of the notion that, I don't think that it boils down to one debate.
Yeah.
I think that there's more to it. I think that when voters go to vote, they're going to look at where is my life right now? How much am I paying for gas? How much am I paying at the grocery store? All those things are going to matter. And it's going to boil down to that.
Yeah. Now tell me something. President Trump said if we had a real president, the president that was respected by Putin, he would never have invaded Ukraine. Do you believe that? You rolled your eyes.
I think that Putin's going to do what Putin wants to do.
Yeah, but Trump kept Putin calm, if you like. He kept him at bay, didn't he? He didn't. Look, let's look at something, Michael, even though we've only got 4 minutes left, but I'm loving talking to you. I'm really enjoying this. During the 4 years of Trump, we had no wars, no American invasions. Yes, he messed up on Afghanistan and just signed whatever. But the fact of the matter is the world was relatively calm. Well, thank God for that calmness because we had COVID. Trump is about business, not about war. Biden appears to be about... I'll let you make that up. You can finish that sentence.
Well, I think that we can't know that for certain. I think that if you look at it, it was a timing thing. Some could say, well, he did it because it's Biden, and he didn't want to mess with Trump. Yeah, but at the same time, it's like the North Korea thing. North Korea has always been talking crazy for years. Every U.S. president dealt with that. That does not mean that under Trump they were different. It just means that under Biden he was dealt a bad hand. We're coming out of COVID, and he probably saw it was an opportunity. That's pretty much it. I mean, don't get me wrong. At the end of the day, what it falls down to is, I don't think any country wants to necessarily go to war with the United States. I don't think anybody wants to face that military power, but I think that he felt as though if I take the opportunity and I do it, is NATO going to attack? Is this going to be a show of force from the United States to defend Ukraine? And I think the Ukrainians have done well as far as fighting Russia.
Okay, now here's the thing. One of the things that Trump said, and we've only got a minute left because they're going to throw me out of this studio for the news, is he said he called President Biden, and I quote, a very bad Palestinian who doesn't want to help Israel finish the job against Hamas in its war on Gaza. What do you make of that statement?
Donald, I think that I think that when it comes to that, I'm sorry. I think that when it comes to that, it's you can't. First of all, you're fighting a guerrilla kind of warfare. You don't know. It's not like they wear uniforms saying Hamas. You don't want to kill innocent people. So to say that Biden doesn't want to finish the job, what job are we finishing exactly? Are we just bombing innocent people? And I don't think Israel wants to do that either. I mean, we're talking about the Israeli army here, who are by far the most, what's the word they use for them?
They call themselves moral, but they have they have shown not to be moral. In fact, they've shown to be the opposite of, which would be amoral.
Well, yeah, I mean, but also put yourself in Israel's position. These are people that are using human beings as shields. I'm referring to Hamas. Once again, it's Palestinian people are not, all terrorists and everything. So
they're throwing me out, Micheal. Oh, my word. I can see Yvonne is here for the news. They're giving me... Micheal, you've got to come back. We need to talk This America more. Would you mind?
Definitely. I'd love to. I'd love to.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much for sharing your comments, your opinions, everything with us. Have a wonderful weekend, my brother. Stay safe. Stay safe.
You too.
All right.
You too. And let your son go to that basketball camp. You should reconsider.
I'll tell him. Thank you so much, Micheal. Lagos,
No
Nigeria, wherever you're joining us from. That's the end of an excellent show on Borderlines. We went from Kenya, we're in Africa, and all the way to the United States. The only show that takes you beyond borders. Have a fabulous weekend. My name is Ireti Bakare-Yusuf. Her name is Yvonne Ohaifo. She's going to tell you the news. Bye.
99.3 Nigeria Info. We are more than just radio. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Nigeria Info FM. Check us out on Facebook at Nigeria Info 99.3. Follow us on Twitter at Nigeria Info FM and on Instagram at Nigeria Info FM Lagos for live updates as it happens. 99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's talk.